Hey, you're watching Cadroll Hunter. My local antique dealer told me he had a stack of old Canadian paper money, and I went right over there. And did he ever? We're going to take a look at this stack of money. There is tons of stuff to go through, including some older stuff. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is James and you're watching my channel Cadroll Hunter. And my local antique dealer Tim called me up. He said he bought an estate and there was a collector and got a bunch of Canadian paper money. Was I interested? I went over right away. I had a look and you can see most of this stuff is from the 80s. A lot of $2 bills here. So I think there is $250 face and I paid $300 for this. So a lot of these aren't going to be worth any money unless they're like crisp and in uncirculated condition. So what I want to do today is go through all of these bills. I'm going to check all of the serial numbers, see if there are any better, more rare varieties in here. We'll see if there's anything that adds to my collection. We're going to look at the signature combinations. I'm going to use my standard catalog, Canadian government paper money, the Charlton Guide. And this has tons of information on Canadian banknotes. It's going to give me information on all the different varieties, the rarities, the prices on all the different signature combinations and serial numbers and that sort of thing. I cannot possibly keep all of this. I spent $300 on this stack of bills. I'm really just hoping that there's going to be a handful that I'll keep, and the rest are either going to go back to the bank or I'm going to trade them with other collectors who need them. Often I'll take them to the Waterloo Coin Society and they're used as change in their auction, and other folks might like to have this. But I get some older paper money pretty regularly. If I kept it all, I would have a closet full of old paper money and no money in the bank, and I wouldn't be able to pay my mortgage. And that would not be good. So you really have to be discerning. But when I get an opportunity to purchase a lot of bills like this, I always say yes. Anytime my bank calls me or if I go in and I ask if they have older Canadian paper money, I will always take it because there might be one or two things in there that are worth more. And typically at the bank, of course, I'm only paying face value. So anything that isn't more valuable than face, I can just deposit at that bank or another bank. It's no big deal. So we want to go through and see what we have. I'm going to sort these out by issue. And there's some newer polymer notes here in the bottom too. I'm not sure if there's anything special about these. We'll have a look. But I'm going to see if there's at least the $50 that I paid over face in value that I can get from here, and the rest will send back. So I'm going to sort these out. We'll be right back. Okay, so I've got these laid out. I've just started with the older stuff from these 1923 shin plasters, these 25-cent fractional notes, all the way down to include, there's a 1937, we've got some 54 and some 67s, and there's some good stuff in here. Just in what I've got here on the table, I think I've got the value that I was hoping to find, some bills that are worth some money and are a good return on my investment. Again, I'm not exactly investing $300, just what I decide to keep. A portion of that, the rest I'm going to basically sell back to the bank or someone else. But starting right here, we've got two 1923 shin plasters. You can see they're both in pretty rough shape. I'm going to say these are probably a G. The one on the top is worse than the one on the bottom. They're dirty, they're heavily creased. This one has some splits, probably some pinholes in here. You can see this one is even more worn. This one has more detail, but this one on the bottom, it's got a little bit of fraying on the edges and that sort of thing. But I'd say both of these are a G. And if we go to the Dominion of Canada 25-cent page here on the Charlton catalog, these are both Macabre Saunders, and we can see in a G, they're $8. Even in this condition, they're worth $8 each. So that is great right there. I always love picking up some of these other ones, these older ones. Next up, we've got this $2 bill from the 1937 series. It is an HR prefix. You can see that over here. The older bills have this two-letter prefix, and it's coin towers. I'm going to flip it over, and this is an allegorical depiction here on the back. I'd have to look and see what the allegory is. It's the harvest allegory. Seated female with fruits of harvest. It's hard to see because this is a very heavily circulated bill. Once again, not in high grade. That's what we can see here. There's a little bit of a tear on the top. This could also be a G, maybe a little bit better than a G perhaps, and perhaps not. So we'll be conservative in our estimate here. But when I look at the Charlton catalog for the $2 1937, and I look at coin towers, the H over R is the common one of the coin tower signature. In a VG, it's showing as $25. So this one here in this condition could be $15 or $20, even like that. They're just really hard to come by. So that is a great pickup for sure. And again, some good value, a good return. Next up, we have a few bills from the 1954 series, a couple of $1 bills. This is a B.D. Razminski. This is from the Canadian Banknote Company. And then we have a Lawson buoy. This is printed by the British North American Banknote Company. So two different companies printing these. In order for these to have any real value, we'd need to see two different things. One would be that it's a replacement note. If it had an asterisk in front of the serial number, then it would have value for sure, even in these types of conditions. The other thing would be if these were the devil's face portrait, and we would see the face of the devil, as people have noticed here, in the hair of the queen. And we don't have that on any of these three bills here. These are what is known as the modified series, just because they modified the portrait so that those features wouldn't stand out, people thought looked like the devil's face. These are both in pretty rough shape. This one here pretty tattered. This one here has some writing. It's a little bit better shape. This one isn't very well centered. In any case, these are probably just worth face value as they are. So they're not even really keepers, maybe a little bit of a premium over face value just because they're so old. Particularly, the other thing we want to look at is the serial number prefix. And the Charlton catalog here will give us the print runs. And so we can see that these are pretty common. This first one is an I over O, so we can see it is in here. It's really common. And even in a VG, it's just worth face value. And this is probably a VG, so not really worth a premium. This other one is a B over I. Notice it's got writing. It's a little bit better shape. And here it is down here, Lawson buoy. Anything from A over I to D over I, pretty common. And in a VG, worth just $1. And that's really all we've got here with this impairment. Last up of the 1954s, we have this B.D. Razminski U over R. And we just take a quick look at the Charlton catalog. It's also quite common. And so in a F, and this might be an F, it's really only worth $3. I might hold on to it. It's not in bad condition, not in terrible condition. You'd want to see a nice crisp one here. If you can get something that is uncirculated, any of these have much better value, and so that would be great. These ones are not that, but again, that's why I always say yes to a stack of bills like this, because oftentimes collectors held on to these, and we're going to see that in just a moment. So we had a whole stack of 1967 notes, and almost all of them are uncirculated. And what's exciting is we've got some sequential stacks here. We've got numbers that all are in order. So somebody was collecting these and they're all uncirculated. We've got one with the 1867, 1967 serial number. So this is an anomaly in Canadian currency because it didn't have an actual serial number. It just had the Confederation dates on there. Really cool. This one is in uncirculated condition. The Charlton Guide shows this being worth about $4 in that condition, which is fantastic. Later on, they started putting serial numbers on, and check this out. We've got P over O, and we've got 0807314, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 4 in a row. Then we've got G over P, we've got 15 and 16. O over O, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82. So we have 7 in a row, all uncirculated bills, all in series, which is awesome. Here's also where we're going to get some of that value. So we want to take a look at this. Look at particularly O over O. We go to uncirculated, and the Charlton catalog is showing these at $14 a piece, and we have 7 of them. Not only do we have 7, but we also have 7 that are in order, and that might very well hold a premium. Some collectors like to get sequential bills, and here are 7 that we have listed at $14 each in sequence, which is really, really cool. The P over O is $7, and then if we go down to the G over P, $6. All of these are in great uncirculated condition. They've been cared for. I'm going to put these in some plastic holders. What we don't want to have is the corners getting tattered or messed up at all. And then we have 3 more here that are, we've got a P over O, an S over O, and a K over P. These are, the top 2 are mostly uncirculated, I think. This last one is a little bit more circulated, or at least a little bit more discolored anyhow. And it might just be the way it was stored. And so those are all so great. I'm going to keep all of these because these are all in excellent condition. So far, this is just $23.50 in face value, and this already represents some significant value. Based on the listings in the Charlton catalog, we've almost got $200 in value, and I still have this huge stack that represents most of the face value, most of what I paid for this. Even if there's nothing in there, then we're doing great. We can send all that back. But I think there might be a few interesting things in there. We want to go through that. But so far, I'm feeling really, really good about this purchase. And it just goes to show you, when somebody just hands you a stack and says, hey, do you want to buy this? I think you want to say yes and go through it. Even if there's just one bill in there that has any sort of a premium. And we found a whole bunch here. This was really, really fantastic. I'm excited to look through here because I think there's a few cool things in there too. Next up, we've got a bunch of bills from the 1973 and 1974 series. So the 73 series are these $1 bills, the 74 series being, of course, this $2 bill. The thing about this series is that they're very common. Most are not worth anything more than face value. The exception is if you get any of these in uncirculated, an uncirculated bill in the 1973 $1 series, if it's not a low print run, is just going to be worth $2. And that's what we've got here for the most part. We do have some sequential bills though, so that's pretty cool. So we've got this BAY. These are all Crow Buoy. I'll just point that out that these are the latest in this series. So before that, they were the Lawson Buoy signature combination. These were printed, even though it says 1973, these were printed well into the 80s, exactly as these are here. And these are probably some of the later ones that were printed with these prefixes and the signature combination. But we've got BAY, 403 and 404, so that's cool. We have ECR, and we've got an 899091. We have a couple of curiosities here. Here are a couple of bills in the BFG prefix, and notice that the serial numbers are very close. We've got a 17 and a 23. It suggests that there might have been in this collection at some point the bills in between, but they're not here. Same thing right here. We've got a 57 and a 59. We're missing the 58. It's not in this stack, so someone else might have it, or maybe this person never had it. I don't know. But these are all in uncirculated condition. So these are all worth $2 each, which is great. This next one here, got a whole lot of 3s on here, but it has some, it's hard to see on camera, but it's got a little bit of circulation, some crinkles. It's got a crease on it. So that, still a nice looking bill, but it's just worth $1, and I'm not going to keep that one. We've got a couple of more uncirculated here. We got one more uncirculated, another ECR. It's not the same set of numbers as the other ones. We've got a few that are circulated. These are all pretty common. They're only worth $1, so they're going to go back. And then we've got this $2 in the 1974. It is more circulated, for sure, but this ARE prefix is less common, and so it has a little bit of value. We'll take a look at the book on that one. So here it is here. We've got Crow Buoy ARE. It's a smaller print run, and in a fine or a VF, it's worth $3. If it was an EF, it would be $4. So this one might be worth a few dollars just as it is, but more than face value anyhow. We ended up with 71 of these 1986 series $2 bills, and these are pretty much worth face value if they're circulated. All of these are circulated, so I'm going to find a way to get these into the hands of someone else who will want them and get my money back. But these are the ones that are uncirculated, and they're all from the same sort of sequence. And you'll see we've got here a good run, EGJ, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. That's great. And over here, the same prefix and the same run, the same 07793. But then we skip ahead to 50 and 51, skip ahead to 61 on its own, then 68, 69, 70, and then 83, 84. So this collector might have got a whole stack or a bunch of bills at the same time. And it's curious that we don't have them all. So I don't know what happened to the rest of them, but I'll keep all of these. It's great to have bills in sequence. Collectors do pay a bit of a premium for that. Essentially, I'd say that in an uncirculated condition, these bills are really only worth $3 each. So, but that's okay. It's more than we paid for them, and it's more than face value, and they might command more of a premium if you've got a good run like this one right here. So that's really cool. We also got 3 of the $5 bills from the 1986 Birds of Canada series. They're all Night Dodge, and they're all common prefixes, common print run, so nothing special about them, and they're not uncirculated. They've got some creases. I don't have one of these Night Dodge bills, so I'm going to keep the best one for my collection, but they're all just worth face value. Where we do a little bit better are with these updated ones here, are $5 bills here and $10 bills. What's interesting about these versions here is that later issues of the 5s and 10s from this series had updated security features. So looking at this $5 bill here, there is, that's what they looked like when they came out. Later on, you can see they added this holographic strip and a thread through the bill that you can sort of see there to the left of the 5. So I think I have one of these ones, but they're both uncirculated, and in uncirculated condition, they do fetch a little over twice face value. So I'll keep these 2. And these ones as well, the same thing. The updated 10s had the security strip, but I don't have one of these without the security strip. So I'll certainly keep both of these, and the best of these is going to go in my binder where I have all of my bills. So that's really cool. And the very last bills we have are from the 2018 series, these $10 bills. They're 4 in sequence. We've got FFC prefix, and we've got 35, 36, 37, and this one here is 38. You'll note it looks like it might have a bit of a crease, but it's actually really just where this polymer window is. It's just sort of a quirk of these bills. It sort of looks like it lifts up a bit, and I think it just might have to do with temperature just changing the size, or maybe that's a little bit tighter. But in any case, these are gorgeous bills. They feature Viola Desmond. She's a Canadian civil rights icon, and it's a beautiful bill, and you can see that holographic imprint in the little window there. And it is Canada's first vertical banknote, which is really, really cool. These are all uncirculated condition. These are new, and so they don't fetch a huge premium. I'm going to hold on to all 4 of them, of course, and probably an uncirculated lists at $12. If it's choice uncirculated, $13. Gem uncirculated, $14. These could be anywhere. These could be a gem uncirculated. I don't see any marks. There's no folds or anything like that. The corners are nice and crisp. They're in really good condition. So by my count, that means we actually got $266.50 in face value. And I think the overall value here has been pretty remarkable. Even with the bills that I'm going to send back, I think I did pretty well. I'd love to hear what you think, how you think I did. What of these would you keep? I told you which ones I think I'm going to keep and which ones I'm going to send back. Do you agree with that assessment? Would you have held on to more of these or fewer of these? Let me know in the comments what you would do. And I also want to know, if your bank were to call you and say, I've got a whole stack of paper notes, would you actually go in and take them all? Like I said, I always do, because you never know what's in there. And today, I didn't find any fancy serial numbers. I didn't find any really low print runs necessarily. Sometimes you find those and they can be much more valuable. But you just got to take a stack of circulated bills like that there and look through them all just to see if there's a gem in there. I think even without one of those gems, I added a few things to my collection that I didn't have, and I got some really nice uncirculated bills. In any case, I hope you enjoyed that look at some Canadian paper currency. If you did, hit the like button. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Cadroll Hunter, why don't you go and hit that subscribe button? I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next time. The sponsors of today's video are Lighthouse Canada and the Charlton Press. Lighthouse Canada is the leading supplier of high-quality numismatic supplies in Canada, and the Charlton Press is the leading publisher of coin and paper money catalogs and price guides for Canadian collectors. Go check out their online stores today and use the exclusive discount code CRH20 for 20% off all your purchases.